What's going on, everybody? Good late afternoon, pushing into the evening here. Hope you guys are doing well. And I thought that we would have a little bit of a discussion about something that Dan Viens just passed along not too long ago concerning the Seattle Seahawks and their edge rusher room. Now, I made a video a couple days ago talking about what seemed to be going on with the Seattle Seahawks as it pertained to edge rusher. And one thing that I talked about was something that several people associated with the Seahawks, including Dan Viens here, were talking about as it pertained to Dante Fowler. Well, we've got a little new information now. At the very least, it's potentially new information. It's at the very least something worth talking about. So I thought I'd go ahead and pass it along. Shout out to Dan. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them a little bit later. But he tweeted this a little bit ago. Dan Viens believes that something bigger is happening for the Seattle Seahawks at the edge rusher position. And Dante Fowler, who he said several days ago was 90% to sign with the Seahawks before the draft, is now maybe more of a 50-50 thing because the Seahawks are trying to aim a little bit bigger. That is the way Dan Viens is pitching this. That is the way that he is painting this. And while he did not say who the players are, but he does believe that there are players being pursued that are bigger and better than Dante Fowler, which obviously, if this team wants to get a little bit better, if this team wants to aim a little bit higher, then I have no objection with that. But we have to ask ourselves, what does this mean? Who could it be? What are we talking about? So if you look at this tweet here, just to kind of dissect it a little bit more, one player, he's intimating that there are two guys the Seahawks are pursuing right now. One is a free agent, one is a trade target. So if this is indeed the case, who is the free agent? Who is the trade target? And in the case of the free agent, it's really hard to say. Like if you go to Spotrac and pull up the list of free agent edge rushers right now, you're going to find quite a few guys of note. And you're going to find some guys that some people will think are better than Dante Fowler, but I don't think anything is guaranteed set in stone. Like, you look at this list, I sorted it by market value on Spotrac, which is obviously an imperfect measurement, but it provides at least something of a template. You see they have Dante Fowler in 7th place, projected to make about 5.1 million. So that means they have 6 edge rushers ahead of him. But are those 6 edge rushers all better than Dante Fowler? And if so, how much better are they to warrant the more extra money? That's assuming there even is extra money. These guys might be cheaper or the same price for all we know. We don't know what's going on exactly, especially at this point. Like a guy like a Von Miller, who is listed here, for all we know, he's willing to play for free because he doesn't care about money. He just wants another ring. Who knows? But you look at these 6 guys that the Spotrac page has listed. You've got Joey Bosa, and I just don't see the fit in a 3-4 defense. I think that he is a hand-in-the-dirt edge. We need guys that can play standing up. Bosa's already kind of failed at playing stand-up edge. Leonard Floyd, I don't see how that's better than Dante Fowler, so I'm going to say no to that one. Cam Jordan, maybe, but he is about to turn 37. So you can make an argument that he's better than Fowler, but I don't think it's a sure thing. AJ Epinesa, I mean, he's younger, he's got more upside, he's in his prime, but is he better than Dante Fowler? I don't think you can say that with any degree of confidence. Von Miller, yeah, I would probably go with that one, but even he's 37, so who knows? And Clowney, yes, I do think he's better, but even that isn't necessarily a surefire thing. If you like sports, the best way to make them better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks, all you got to do is pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. It's the daily fantasy stuff, but it's made super easy over there. Whatever sport you're into, give it a shot. And right now, Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All you have to do is use promo code HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing very easy, and it makes watching the games way more exciting. Be sure to check out the social feeds feature so you can share lineups with your friends and tail partners or even fade their picks. Right now, Prize Picks is offering odds on the NFL draft. You have who's going to go where, what each team is going to do, how many of each position is going to go in each round, and so on and so on. Get on over to Prize Picks. Take advantage of that. So download Prize Picks today, America's #1 sports app, and remember to use the promo code HMA. And remember, always gamble responsibly. So that would be the one guy that really stands out to me. Clowney, by the way, go check it out if you haven't. Clowney had 8.5 sacks last year, even though he didn't play the whole season on a really bad Cowboys defense and a Cowboys team that played from behind a lot. So Clowney was actually probably better than you even remember in 2025. But yeah, that would be the only guy that really stands out to me. Like, I don't think Hassan Reddick's better, Kyle Van Noy, Grossmatos, who else would you even consider talking about here? Marcus Davenport. I think that it's probably Clowney. The issue with Clowney, and I've talked about this before, is that he probably doesn't want to sign right now. He probably wants to wait until later in the offseason. He might not want to sign until September. He doesn't want to do training camp. He doesn't want to do preseason. He just wants to show up and play football. So I would not be surprised if we have to wait on Clowney, and that's a dangerous game. Because if you don't get him, then you're just kind of left out in the cold and you've got nothing going on. Because I do believe that most of these players will eventually sign. I don't think you're going to go into the regular season and Von Miller's just going to be chilling on his porch waiting for something that apparently hasn't come his way yet. So the free agent, I would assume it's Clowney, but we wouldn't find out about that until much, 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 much later. The other being a trade target, when you say that, everybody kind of, I think, instinctively flashes to one particular guy, and it's Kayvon Thibodeaux, who there was a report, I think, earlier today from PFT that the Giants were trying to trade Kayvon Thibodeaux for his second-round pick in the most recent draft, and we're kind of laughed out of the room. Nobody seemed to seriously entertain that. Now, if they couldn't get a second-round pick in a bad draft, I don't think they're going to be able to get even a third-round pick in a good draft next year. And it's important to note that Thibodeaux did not have a very good season statistically in 2025. He had 2.5 sacks, only played 10 games. His really good season in the NFL in terms of getting quarterback pressure was 2023, 11.5 sacks. That was a while ago. So there's not a lot that Thibodeaux has to sell himself on other than his age, his draft pedigree, and the fact that PFF gave him a really elite run defense grade in 2025, even though they didn't like him that much overall. Like, that is what you're trying to sell with a guy like Thibodeaux. So it's not a lot. I don't think Thibodeaux would cost that much. I think you're looking at like a 4th-round pick at this point. Remember, everybody kind of understands now the Giants probably need to move off of him because they drafted Arvell Reese. You got Arvell Reese, who is going to play a lot of his snaps at edge. You've got Brian Burns. What's Thibodeaux going to do in a contract year? And the contract year thing is appealing. I will admit that. Thibodeaux in a contract year is going to be heavily motivated to go out there and play good football because he wants that extension. He wants the new contract. He wants the big money. But that's also the other side of it. That's also kind of the negative side here. Thibodeaux is a 1-year proposition. After 2026, you either extend him for massive money or you let him go. Or he doesn't play well and you extend him cheap, but then do you even want to? If he didn't play good, then why would you really be excited about getting him back, really? So it's a mixed bag. And the thing to keep in mind here is that Thibodeaux is not cheap for 2026. His cap hit is almost $15 million. So you're not getting him for like a rental price. You're getting him for a pretty decent cost. And I know that 15 million is less than a lot of good edge rushers, but is Thibodeaux even a good edge rusher? Can we really look at these numbers and say, yeah, this is a guy I feel good about? Yeah, it's been a little bit better than Boye Mafe, I guess, but is this something you're excited about when you can just go spend a third of the cost on a guy like a Clowney or a Fowler or Cam Jordan or whoever? I say no. I'm not convinced that Thibodeaux would give you anything better than those two guys, or, well, three guys, and he's going to cost triple the amount. And some people would say, well, he's young, but that youth doesn't really help us that much if he's just a 1-year rental. So I don't know about the Thibodeaux thing. I'm a little put out by the price. I would need the Giants to absorb a decent chunk of this cap hit to feel really good about it. Now, I will say he does have upper level talent. Maybe Mike Macdonald could get him back to his 2023 level of pass rush production. But man, this is getting into Chase Young territory here, where it's like, do we really like him that much? Is he really that good? So I don't know if I'm really excited about this one. So that is the most logical assumption for the trade target. He's not the only one, though. Now, let me be very clear here. I don't think we're talking about Max Crosby. I don't think we're talking about Myles Garrett. I don't think we're talking about one of those guys. I just don't think we're going to give up what it takes to get guys like that. And I have a feeling that while we may have been in on Crosby at one point, it seems like things have cooled off. And that seems to be a league-wide thing, not just a Seahawks thing. I do think the Seahawks made overtures at guys like Garrett and Crosby, but I don't believe they'll be able to close the deal on what it would take to get that done. However, there are some guys that are better than Fowler, but not on the level of those guys that I just mentioned, Garrett and Crosby, that you could absolutely go get. Alex Highsmith is an interesting one. The Steelers are in some salary cap trouble. They may need to move a guy like Highsmith. Now, I don't know if Highsmith is really the kind of guy that McDonald would really covet. He's a little bit of a smaller guy. He's more of a traditional, like, Leo speed rusher. But he is somebody that I think could be had. And he's coming off a year where he had 9.5 sacks. He had 14.5 sacks back in 2022. So this has been a very good player in this league for a while now. He's somebody that absolutely generates good pressure and somebody that does bring a lot of positive things to the table as an edge rusher. And if you are in need of somebody that can get to the quarterback off the edge, Highsmith is somebody that you could probably get for a reasonable price. You'll give up something, but it won't be anything ridiculous. Remember, we have bonus picks next year. And I think you can pretty easily justify it. And there's another Steeler as well you can talk about here, Nick Herbig. Now, he has some of the same problems, I will admit. I don't know if this is a Mike Macdonald edge, but we did have a top 30 visit with Cassius Howell and R. Mason Thomas, and they're kind of similar to guys like this. And Herbig's another good player. He had 7.5 sacks last year. He's a good pass rusher. He's a good sub-package guy. He belongs in this league, and there are things he can do that are very good. And if you traded for either of these guys, they could very easily end up being your best pass rusher off the edge for the 2026 season. So those would be two guys that I would at least think about and let Mike Macdonald make the decision on whether or not he thinks those guys fit in his defense. They may not. And if they don't, there are other guys out there as well that we will talk about as time goes by, but those would be the two guys that kind of jump out to me after Thibodeaux. So let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know how you guys feel about this whole thing. Do you still think we're going to get Fowler? Do you think we're going to trade for another guy? Do you think we're going to sign Clowney? Maybe we're going to sign Bosa and he'll actually do well in a 3-4. I don't know. But to me, I don't feel like we're going to swing for the fences here. And I'm hoping whatever we do is not cringe-inducing with the cost. I'll put it to you that way. Okay, I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Probably no more videos today. I might be on Twitch later. I might not. But either way, keep an eye out. See you guys tomorrow, and have a great day.